Before we get into the video, I'd like to say up front that the views expressed here should not be used as a tool for sabotage or discrimination of any sort. The stories, individuals, and experiences captured here are strictly taken from verifiable historical sources that date as far back as 1st century Palestine. The time then was 586 BC, not your regular time if you're considering 2,608 years and 8 months ago exactly. A wide population of men, women, young children, alongside all forms of property you could imagine a Middle Eastern person would have typically. On a normal day, no one in their right frame of mind would begin to imagine the possibility of someone snatching them away from the comfort of their home. Enslavement is not something to play around with. It touches every part of the human being, the psychological, the emotional.
Besieged and then destroyed, taken down stone by stone. The temple was gone, the houses were gone. It was just a ruin.
Babylon is the oppressor.
A siege that lasts for 18 months. There's deprivation of food, there's starvation, there's death, there's disease, and finally,
Jerusalem has fallen. Jewish people remain in exile, captive in Babylon.
Every part of a human being is invested in brutal treatment. Israel as a nation was forcefully moved. This happened in the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar. In order to establish his kingdom, to expand the boundaries of Babylon, he conquered cities and nations and made them to pay homage to his gigantic kingdom. The Babylonians were known to treat the nations they conquered by amputating their arms, their legs, cutting off their nose, their feet, and treating them in the same brutal manner that the Assyrians, their counterparts, did.
Chapter 1 is actually a covenant lawsuit between Yahweh and his people.
Shocking and remarkable. It doesn't even tally with what we just saw with the Babylonians. At a point, we would sympathize with their predicament. How would they fall in the hands of the Babylonians? The actions of the Israelites in this moment in history is something of uttermost concern. Well, the son of Ammuz, named Isaiah, known to be a prophet, said something remarkable about the reality of the Israelites. He talks about an unfaithful city. He talks about oppression and injustice. He talks about idolatry and things that are not of reputation before both God and man. According to this prophet, he says that the Israelites have rebelled against the creator of the heavens and the earth and the father of their covenant. If we are to go back into history even further, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob entered a covenant with God to be a faithful people set apart from the nations around them. And this covenant fleshed out itself during the ministry of another prophet called Moses. Now, this is fascinating for us to know right now. Because what Isaiah is saying and what he refers to as the unfaithful city is something we must consider. What were the characteristics of this unfaithful city for us to see the reason why they were exiled? Basically, there was the oracle of woe.
And then there was also the oracle of woe.
Why don't you tell us what a woe oracle?
It's really hard to explain.
Wow, yeah.
Woes would be judgments.
First case lawsuit.
You have taken properties that were separate, that belonged to different people, and you've adjoined them.
Each of the tribes had a certain amount of land. They were supposed to keep that. That was their inheritance from God.
The second case lawsuit.
The woe number 2 is pursuing of pleasure beyond everything else.
They're having such a good time that what actually matters in life is given no thought.
The third case lawsuit.
To string people by calling what is evil good and to call what's good evil.
Administer true justice. Show mercy and compassion. Do not oppress the widow or the orphan.
The fourth case lawsuit.
System of what was right and wrong, and they were guilty because they became their own moral standard.
Before I get to the next two woes, it is important for us to note that these visions that Isaiah sees are not mere conclusions drawn from seeing society in his time. It was indeed true that ethically their behaviors were out of course, but Isaiah isn't preoccupied with morals alone. He drives a thick, long nail to make the point that the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is displeased by their behaviors. Woe to those who are heroes at drinking wine, and valiant men in mixing strong drink, who acquit the guilty for a bribe and deprive the innocent of his right. This is the second to the last woe for now. And here Isaiah supposedly describes those who dealt in real estate, how they would have middlemen who would serve as instruments to whip their customers off and take on the profit and use it to indulge in alcohol. And so in 3 verses after this woe, he describes the end and the fate of those who walk in the light of these 6 woes. There's a wide variety of metaphors he uses here. He alludes to fire consuming wood and the grass. So I would admit that there are a lot of things that we have skipped to be at the point that we're in right now, such as that of another city Isaiah describes in comparison with the unfaithful city, and that is the city of peace. In the city of peace, he describes that the mountain of the Lord will be exalted above every other mountain. He alludes to creation. He gives us a mental picture of the height of the mountain and the valley. He draws us close to see God's plan of justice and how God desires that Zion, the city of David, would be an example to the nation of that time and of history. Now, there's so much details we have poured into this video, and some of those details we have taken them from other chapters that are within this book. And because we are dealing with first 5 chapters, we have safely moved from the beginning, middle, and end of the book in order to get a wide understanding of the progression of thought that Isaiah moves us into just by the first 5 chapters. A verse that is commonly quoted, that is that of the 13th verse of the 5th chapter, which says, "Therefore my people go into exile because of lack of knowledge." This is not a complete picture of Isaiah's vision. We see in the next chapter, in which we'll be handling in the next episode, of Isaiah's encounter with the righteous and holy one of Israel. This experience is epic. This experience completely changes the tone and heart of Isaiah. And this experience is not void of the last woe. In this situation, Isaiah is not just pointing to the misdeeds of the Israelites, but points to his own